As you can tell from this video, I'm trying a different software, different program to film this video, as you can see, since you can see my face, and we'll see how this works. And if I continue with my videos this way, or if I go back to just doing them on the smartboard when you can't see me. So if you were missing me by not being in school, this is your chance to at least get to look at me. Now, I want us to look at our final project. Now, we've done the survey online, and we have had a whole bunch of people that have submitted that survey, not just the statistics classes. I had all of my classes do it. So everybody's done a good job on number one. You found your article, you found your H sub O and H sub A. We have done that very well. We've conducted the survey. So I want to talk about the next couple parts of this project that we're going to turn in the rest of the week. Now, eventually all of these are going to be in a PowerPoint, but for this week, all I want you to do is just write these on paper, and then or on Google Docs, whatever you want, and then just kind of turn them in and submit them. You don't have to put them in the PowerPoint yet. Number 5, I will say, is a graph. I'm going to show you how to do that today, but you don't need to turn that in necessarily this week because that's going to be a graph on your PowerPoint, but I'll show you how to do that. Now, what we're going to do to get started is I have shared on Google Classroom, I have shared this spreadsheet. See if I can get it up here. Right here. And this is all of the responses from the survey. Now, what I've done at the top here is I have, in the first row, I have everybody's name who asked that question. Now, some of these are double, as you can see, and everybody submitted 2. I just picked one. I thought the one that would work the best, or the one that had the best, you get the best results for. So, and I've put your name above each column. Then you see the question that is, it was your question on the survey, and then all the responses, yes or no, if it was a yes or no question, athletics, if you had numbers, if you, Chick-fil-A, Raising Cane, whatever it may be. And then what you're going to want to do is find your question on here. Now, if you look on the side, you will notice it goes from 3 is our first response, down to the bottom is 78. So as you do that, now it doesn't work out exactly right. You're going to have to add 1, because what that's going to mean is our survey size is going to be 76. So N is 76. Now, if not every question got answered right, some of you that maybe had somebody type something in that you want to get rid of, so our N is 76. So that is how many responses everybody has. So when you look here and you were talking about our summary data, first thing you want is your sample size or your N. If you have the mean, or if you have the p hat, depending on which type you have. So for everybody, we have our N. Now, if you asked a yes, no kind of question, and you're looking at percentages, right? Then the other things you're going to need is the X, which is the number of yeses. And then you're also going to need to find what is your p hat, which is your X over N. Now, if you did something with the mean and you did something with numbers and you were looking at mu, that you then need to find X bar, which is your mean, and you need to find S. N is already given there, unless you don't use all of your numbers, and then you have to change what your N is for your answer. So now what you have to do is you have to go through and count. Now there's 2 ways to do this. One is you could just start here and go down and count. I'm going to show you kind of an easy way to do this, is if you just highlight your column and all of your responses, and you just go up here to data and you click sort. What that does is it will put like all of the no's at the top and all of the yeses at the bottom. So that's easy to count here. If I just count the number of no's, and I just can go through and see how many no's there are. And my number of no's was 21. So I went through and counted these beforehand. My number of no's is 21, and my number of yeses was 55. So my N is 76 in my problem, and my X is 55. So my P hat, my proportion for my sample, is 56 over 76. Now, if I wanted to make a chart out of that, I could go back here, and now that I know that, I am going to go and start a new worksheet. I'm going to say, no, I had 21. Yes, I had 55. And then from there, I could say insert a chart. And then there is my pie chart. And you can see it tells me right here, my yeses are 72.4. And so that's my P hat. My P hat is 72.4%. If you have one where you have a number and you're dealing with the mean, you could find these. Once again, if you remember, you could just highlight your column and do mean, standard deviation, those types of things. The one here, you'll notice you're going to need to change these, Jaden. You're going to need to change these to numbers instead of words in order to be able to do that, but that would not be very hard to figure out. So there's how you can make a chart. Now this chart, when you do get to the PowerPoint stage, you can copy this chart into your PowerPoint. It doesn't have to be a pie chart. You can pick whatever chart. When you go to that insert chart, there's a lot of different options there. You can pick one that you like if you want something different. Okay. So that is the first part here. That's number 5, creating the graph like we just talked about. And then you'll notice for Wednesday, you need to find the summary of your statistics. So the summary for your statistics for many of you is your sample size, the number of successes, and your P hat. Those are the things that you need to have. And that the second part of this is going to be constructing a confidence interval for your sample statistics. Now, for those of you, and then also to write a sentence interpreting your confidence interval in the context of the problem. Now, it's been a while since we did this. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be finding a 1 proportion Z interval. So what that means is if you have a calculator, we just do this by going, we're not doing a test. This is a 1 proportion Z interval. And then I had 55 out of 76. We all want to do a 95% confidence interval. And there is my confidence interval. And then we are sentenced to interpretate that as we are 95% confident that our interval is one of the intervals that contains the proportion and so forth. Now, for those of you that don't have a calculator and you did this on the GeoGebra on the computer, you can still do this. But if you remember, the difference when you do it on the computer is the computer doesn't use X. The calculator, we plugged in X. When we did our confidence interval here, we had to plug in the X. If you remember, the computer uses P hat. It's going to use this percentage. So if we go to our GeoGebra, let me find it here. If we go to our GeoGebra, here's what we want to type in. And you'll notice I have the same numbers already in here. We're going to type in Z proportion estimate. And then you notice you type in your P hat, 0.724. 76 is our sample size, and our confidence interval is 0.95. And then it gives me my confidence interval here, 0.624 to 0.824, which is the same thing I got on the calculator. So you can get it either way. Okay, so here is for those of you doing it on the GeoGebra. So the 2 things we have to figure out this week is we want to, 1, get our, using the spreadsheet, calculate and count all the responses for our questions by finding your question across the top here. Once you find that, find your summary information. What is your N? What is your X? What is your P hat for many of you? Or X bar, S, and N for the others. Then once we do that, you want to go and calculate a confidence interval for that data. So that's going to get us through the rest of this week and these 3 steps. Before into next week, we go in to finish a couple steps and finish the PowerPoint for this project. I will have office hours on Wednesday and Friday this week. If you have questions on anything that I've tried to explain through this video. Hopefully that helps, and good luck analyzing your data.